Coming up on Mountain News this morning, folks in London are demanding answers for the death of Doug Harless after a recent city council meeting. And the legislative body is back in session as lawmakers look for new ways to cut taxes.
Dedicated to Eastern and Southern Kentucky, this is WYMT Mountain News this morning.
Good morning and thanks for joining us. The time is now 5:30 this Wednesday morning. Let's check in with meteorologist Megan Dusmall for a look at your forecast this morning. Megan, we got past a little bit of the snow hump, but it's not over yet.
Unfortunately, it is not, but at least it's that pretty snow, right?
Yeah, this time.
This time, yeah. We do have that pretty snow dropping across eastern Kentucky, those little tiny delicate snowflakes, and you'll continue to see that throughout your morning, and it could be continuing throughout the day. These type of events are really hard to forecast as they are those very, very light snowflakes, but as of right now, we're looking to see them throughout the day, but just this very slight chance that you're seeing right now. And as you look at another thing that could be impacting your drive this morning, we do have some fog, especially as you're traveling more towards the northeast. We're looking at 2.5 mile visibility in Prestonsburg and Pikeville this morning and 5 mile visibility in Wise. And as we're thinking about those temperatures this morning, thankfully our winds are quite calm, so those feels like temperatures are right at the ambient air temperature. We're looking in the upper teens and the 20s, some places looking in the mid-teens this morning, but we will warm up slightly into those forecast highs around noon in the mid to upper 20s. Quite the cold day ahead of us, Madison.
Not looking forward to it necessarily, but thank you, Megan. Community members in London are confronting city leaders over the death of Douglas Harless. He was shot and killed by a London police officer last month. People say they are frustrated with the lack of information being shared. During Monday night's city council meeting, residents demanded transparency. Questions stemmed from the lack of body camera footage. We previously reported London police stopped using body-worn cameras back in March of 2023.
I know we didn't have any idea we wasn't using body cams. That happened while we were in office. Did that happen early on in 2023?
Yes, it did.
Okay. Well, I know the council was not made aware of any of that. We didn't have them.
How long did we have them before that?
I'm not sure.
They were voted in it under Troy Redder.
Another Justice for Doug march is scheduled for January 25th at 11:30 in the morning. Organizers say it will start in the London Big Lots parking lot. A Southwest Virginia man is dead after being pulled from the Powell River. Police responded to reports of a person floating in the river on Sunday. Crews were able to pull 45-year-old Michael Wayne Sullivan Jr. from the river. Sullivan was later taken to the Lonesome Pine Hospital where he was pronounced dead. Multiple fire departments responded to a house fire in Wayne County, West Virginia this week. Dispatchers say the fire started in the 800 block of 13th Street in Canova just before 1 a.m. Tuesday night. No injuries were reported. Several fire departments in West Virginia and Kentucky responded. An audit was released into the examination of Salyersville Waterworks in Magoffin County. The period examined was from July 1st of 2021 to March 31st of last year. In that report, some of the findings include billing adjustments that were not handled properly, receipts not being accounted for properly, and the company engaging in questionable real property transactions. We reached out to the company for comment but have not heard back. Kentucky lawmakers are back to work in the state capitol. A new session began yesterday in the House and Senate. There's a talk of a tax cut in the early days of the session. WYMT's Phil Pendleton was there for the opening hours of the General Assembly in Frankfort.
It is the beginning of another session to consider laws for the Commonwealth of Kentucky.
I think we want to talk about energy. I think we're going to talk about artificial intelligence.
But first up on the agenda will likely be a bill that will lower the state individual income tax by 0.5% next year. It will start in the House.
Give it its constitutional reading here on Thursday.
You will see that I've always voted for the tax cut. Look, when we can afford to give people tax cuts, we should.
And we heard about dozens of bills that may be heard this legislative session, including one to raise the state minimum wage, bills dealing with health care, domestic violence victims, others focusing on insurance fraud to Parkinson's disease. But there was also debate on the best way to debate bills. The body passed Senate Resolution 2, which deals with moving to a vote when the previous question is called. Many Democrats claim that it will stifle debate and discussion.
Of limiting not only our ability to perform and represent, but also the public to participate in the process as well.
That by changing this to conform to Mason's Manual of Legislative Procedure to the statutes in most of the other states, we will do nothing for to damage the relationships between one of us.
Senator Stiver says overall he believes the biggest thing this session will revolve around the tax code to make Kentucky a more competitive state. In Frankfort, Phil Pendleton, WYMT Mountain News.
The session meets until Friday before taking a break for 3 weeks. The session is expected to resume in early February. Former Mayor of Pineville, Sen Maiden, was sworn in as the 29th District State Senator. Maiden was elected in a historic write-in election after the death of Senator Johnny Turner. Going into his first legislative session, Maiden will co-chair the Budget Review Subcommittee on General Government Finance and Public Protection. We spoke to Maiden last month. He told WYMT he is eager to lead and learn.
You know, we've had a retreat and talked about some of the things. You know, in the Senate, you know, one of our main goal is going to be lowering the income tax, and it looks like we're going to be able to do that. And we're going to tackle DEI. We're going to tackle the AI problem with the artificial intelligence. So, you know, we've got our agenda set.
You can still find WYMT's Issues and Answers interview with Maiden after his write-in victory in November on our website. Teacher pay continues to be an issue in the Commonwealth. New data from the Kentucky Center of Economic Policy shows the average district's pay for teachers is nearly $14,000 less than in 2008 once adjusted for inflation. That is a nearly 20% decline. Many school districts in eastern Kentucky have seen more than a 20% decline in pay since 2008. Officials are asking people to stay indoors following the winter storm, but if you must brave the bitter cold, it is important to bundle up. Doctors recommend covering your nose, ears, and fingers to avoid frostbite during prolonged time outside. If you notice changes in the coloring of those areas, Dr. Avery Shrum says to get out of the cold and contact a healthcare professional as soon as possible.
You may notice some discoloration of your skin, a bluish, purplish color. Once it gets more severe, then you can see a paleness or even blackening of the skin, like where the skin starts to die when it freezes.
Shrum says if you believe you have frostbite, do not sit too close to a heater or fire because numbness may cause you to unintentionally burn your skin. Here is a list of some warming centers you can go to in our area. In Perry County, you can go to the old courthouse on Main Street. There is a warming center in the fiscal courtroom on the 2nd floor. In Whitley County, you can go to the Williamsburg Fire Department or the Williamsburg Convention Center. And in Clay County, you can go to the Crawdad Community Building. There is a link to a list of warming centers in our area at WYMT.com. As crews work to clear the roads, many Kentuckians are finding their car covered in snow and ice. George Servin with Southside Auto Repair in Lexington says cleaning off your car is important to keep your vehicle running smoothly. He says it is important to check that the battery does not freeze when you are ready to start traveling again in the winter storm.
Set everything to defrost and wait about 10 minutes. That front windshield should be pretty clear and you should be good to go.
Servin says using a rubber snow broom helps with pushing off extra snow on the windshield, and wipers can help. He says it is also important to clear off headlights. Our annual winter blood drive at WYMT is happening today. The Kentucky Blood Center is teaming up with WYMT for the drive. It is here at the station today from 3 p.m. until 7 p.m. You can sign up online or just show up. Blood Center officials say the winter weather has canceled several mobile drives, so they are hoping for a good turnout here at WYMT. When we return, Meta is moving forward with a new policy to remove its fact checkers feature on all platforms.
And flurries and freezing temperatures are in our forecast. I'll tell you what else to expect coming up.